Oh, what a treat it is to be back with you, my friends. Welcome along to Matchday Live for our 2 o'clock kickoff as we welcome the Hammers West Ham United to the Etihad Stadium. My name is Cel Spelman, and so great to be with you this afternoon, and so great to be with these two fine gents in the form of Michael Bowen and Trevor Sinclair. Thank you so much for joining us on Matchday Live, and what a show we've got lined up for you indeed. Michael, the snow is falling, although it's been cleaned up just in time, so hopefully it won't make too much of a change on today's game.
Well, they've done well, haven't they? Before, just as we were coming in, we were thinking it's getting whiter and whiter, more snow falling, so full credit to the ground staff clearing it off, but I think it could come again.
It could definitely come again. Trevor, so great to have you back in the studio. Tell us, this week we put a certain PSG to the plate, didn't we? 2-1. What a result that was.
Great result, but the performance for me, it was outstanding. You know, the way that they went 1-0 down showed great resilience, stuck to the game plan, stuck to the principles that the gaffer expects from the players, and as a team, I think individually they had very good players, as we know, but as a team, I thought it was exceptional from the Manchester City players.
That up there, do you think, with one of our best European performances, Michael?
Well, you look at the personnel that you're playing against straight away, and I was so impressed the amount of shots that City had, the amount of dominance in possession, the way they went about the business, the desire, they passed them to death at times, and I think that would have been a plan, a set-up at the start to actually try and move the ball around, because we know out of possession that's where PSG are weak. Yeah. But I expected a little bit more from them, but City were just incredible. Yeah. You said the recovery as well, that's what made it even
and
better.
They just dominated it, and you know, you talk about early doors, there was a little nutmegs, I think, was it on Raheem Sterling? I thought, oh my God.
They've not mentioned that, have they?
So naughty. I was just looking at the way that the game unfolded, and you could see the Manchester City players growing in belief. And for a manager, I think Pep's obviously had a lot of good teams, but the way that this team seems to have evolved again, you know, without a striker in the team or a recognised striker, the way that they rotate in position, we used to call it filling in for each other, but almost all the players can rotate in 2 or 3, 4 different positions, and to play against, I know that it would have bamboozled me.
Sterling as well, wasn't it?
Yeah,
do you know,
great
because to get him that goal at the end,
he
struggled a little bit, I find, and that'll give him a lot of confidence.
I think also on that, you know, you talk about he's not been playing. Every manager or everyone that you hear that has worked with him on a professional basis in football says it doesn't matter what criticism, how many bad games he got, he goes in the training ground and he works his socks off day in, day out. So I think that's just that kind of backs that up, that he's not been playing. There's been talk of him leaving, there's been a lot of speculation, but still he gets picked in the starting lineup for a massive game against possibly one of our biggest rivals in the Champions League, and he turns up and he's ready.
Yeah, it really does. I mean, that's 2 goals, I think, in his last 2 starts for Raheem Sterling, and we can find out if he'll be getting his 3rd start, and could he make it 3-3? Well, let's find out. Our starting 11 looks like this. In goal, Ederson, who, of course, as we know, he couldn't do it against PSG, understandably, but if we were to keep a clean sheet, that'll be a century of clean sheets for him in a Manchester City shirt. At the back, Kyle Walker retains his place from the middle of the week. Ruben Diaz is partnered by Aymeric Laporte, who comes into the side, and João Cancelo again starting at left back. Rodri holding alongside Bernardo Silva and Ilkay Gundogan, who is captain in the side. And a forward 3 of Mahrez, Jesus and Raheem Sterling. As we look to the bench, we see Zach Stefan, we see Scott Carson, John Stones, Nathan Ake, Oli Zinchenko, Fernandinho, and 2 lads as well, of course, that joined us for the Champions League. Cole Palmer and James McAtee complete the bench. We'll be bringing you the West Ham team news in just a little moment. But let's get into our thoughts from our guests on that today's starting 11. Michael, couple of changes there. I mean, first of all, why don't we start with Raheem Sterling? He's keeping his place, and rightly so.
Well, rightly so. And once he gets this opportunity, that's a big point, isn't it? You score your goal against PSG. You want to get a run in the team. He hasn't really had that for whatever reason that may be. And it's a strong team, isn't it?
Yes.
It's a really strong team. I think I'm impressed by the quality that City have. And it's a tough West Ham side who are going really, really well, getting results. They've got momentum, great team ethic. We could discuss that a little bit later on. But, you know, we're all thinking again, aren't we? Which type of formation will it be? Who will play the 9? Who will play wide areas? Will Gabriel Jesus finally get a centre spot and play that number 9?
Well, what do you think, Trevor? I mean, we were talking about before. We were thinking that it'll be there with Mahrez on the right, Sterling on the left, but who knows?
This is a nightmare that opposing managers have.
Yeah.
Like, who's going to play as number 9? What qualities and what profile has he got? He might not even start there. So I can imagine Moyes. I mean, it's one of them. You're so perplexed by who's going to play where when you play Manchester City anyway. But you know, we talk about Kevin De Bruyne, Phil Foden, obviously Jack Grealish, who's coming in the summer. That's why, for me, we've not had the opportunity to watch Sterling as much. He has got this opportunity now because of injuries. He's got to take it. And
yes.
Getting a goal. I mean, you look at his numbers throughout his time at Manchester City, they're exceptional. And actually, apart from Foden, who's had a lot less games, Jack Grealish can't get anywhere near him for numbers when it comes to assists and goals. So if he gets this opportunity, continues with bringing them numbers to the table, I think he's got a great chance.
You look at those, don't you, Trev? You look at those appearances, goals, assists. They have fallen away the last 2 years for whatever reason that would be, and it's where, you know, a team in transition, Pep Guardiola making different choices, maybe a little bit safer, not getting counter-attack, for instance, but he'll be a little bit disappointed with that return from where he was.
Yeah, because
we were putting him in top bracket, weren't we?
Right up there with the big boys. Yeah. And he will be disappointed with them numbers. But again, the game evolves. So what he might have been doing, where I think one of his main principles of his, or one of his main jobs in his team when he first came in, when Pep first joined the club, would have been anywhere in that final third, I want you to run at your man. I think that's changed a bit now, because I think it's still, even in the final third, it's movement, it's third man runs, it's movement off the ball, and I think as a player, he might have just slightly struggled to adapt to the new way of playing.
Do you think he could play on the right-hand side? You know, if West Ham, notably this season, have gone with that back three.
Yes.
He wants to force them in wide areas. He wants to take those wing-backs all the way back. And he said against Manchester United, he said he wanted a left-footer on the left, a right-footer on the right, which is different to Pep Guardiola. It's normally been inverted, coming inside, inverted, playing inside. Will we see that today?
Possibly.
Sterling on that right-hand side, Riyad Mahrez hugging that left-hand side, delivering crosses. I'd like to see that, something different.
I would like to see that. And again, you look at, what is it going to be, Masiaku, I think, for West Ham on the left-hand side. If Raheem is there, it'll be a nice little match-up to see who's going to force their game on the opposing player. Is Raheem going to get in wide areas, be disciplined and stay wrong side and almost cheat and say to Masiaku, well, go on then, if you're going to bomb forward, I'm here. I'm going to be getting at your centre half. High wide areas. Really wide, I think they can do that.
Off that though, I mean, because for me personally, I think Raheem Sterling's best position out of the three is actually on the right hand side. I just wondered if you'd agree, if you think maybe he is better on the left cutting in, or maybe even down the middle.
Well, it's something we were trying to get used to as well, wasn't it? Like you're looking, you've got wide players. Who could go at people down the sides, get crosses, across the box, and then all of a sudden we're watching a different City.
Yes.
But they're coming inside, being more patient. With a wide area, when you played, Trevor, it was literally you got one-on-one.
Yeah.
You get at him, get through him, beat your man, push him back into the box, and at times we've actually sort of been sat there watching the games, going, "Go on then, go on then," and they come back inside. We've had to educate ourselves and seeing a different style, understanding and more control from Pep Guardiola's team, that he doesn't get counter-attacked.
Yes.
That's the one thing he hates. You know straight away if you lose that ball, he's going to be on you.
Yeah, well, in that transition, he wants the players to closest man go and press, everyone else, that's a trigger, go and press in behind him. But just talking about the wing play again, as a right winger, as a right footer for myself, when I played on the right, it was literally get your half yard or beat your man and get your crosses in.
Yeah.
Playing on the left, it's a different mentality. You feel you can receive the ball in any area because you'll stick your backside out, you'll hold the defender off, you'll receive it on your right foot, so you've always got control of the ball. So there's two completely different things going on, whether you're a right-footed playing on the right or a right-footed playing on the left.
Yeah, it's so interesting actually, and I think the beautiful thing is though, we're blessed that we have players that have the ability to play either side, because I guess they make it look easy, Trev, but sometimes if you're asking a naturally right-sided player, and we'll look at Cancelo as well, to play on the left, it's not that easy, is it?
You say it's not that easy.
It's easy to play in the wide areas. Let me just tell you that. To just go out the side, cross the ball in, sit on the line, don't do anything else.
I don't want to go in depth to why the wingers are the most important players in the pitch, but we haven't got a long enough show.
And moving back towards, if we were towards the back end of the pitch, then I mean
midfield area,
the midfield area. But I mean, we were waxing superlative, to be honest, about all three of them in the middle of the week, Brownie, and I guess actually so far this season, them three, Gundogan coming in for De Bruyne, formidable midfield we've got there, isn't it?
Yeah, it's fantastic. I mean, you're almost forgetting about Kevin De Bruyne. How can you do that?
Yeah.
But that tells you something how well they've done. Because normally we're going Kevin De Bruyne. Me going into that game against PSG, I said, where is Kevin De Bruyne? He's the difference. He's the player. Unlike Sean Goater, he's probably my favourite player. Not many players. It's everybody's Sean Goater's favourite player. Yeah. I think he's on personal terms with everybody, so we're under a little bit of pressure. So we'll get him a bit later when he's doing the commentary on that. But yeah, that just tells you, doesn't it? I think Rodri taking the ball, he's much better, more comfortable. Gundogan's very, very intelligent. Great runs forward, the timing of those runs. But the last but not least, Bernardo Silva. He was absolutely incredible. Yeah. How good was he? And you know, for me, is he ran, he tackled, he showed desire. He had a run down the line in front of Pep Guardiola, which he got into a tight area, did 1-2 little flicks, drove inside under pressure. Late on in the game, I don't know if you noticed as well, and I mean that success rate was at 47 passes, 100% completion, and using that energy, that tells you everything. And then at the end of the game, I was watching him, and he's telling Raheem Sterling to get up the pitch, to run, to sprint, to keep going as he chases the goalkeeper, centre-back, left-back, back across, and that's later on in the game. So it had everything, his performance.
I mean, Trev, this is, I mean, we usually are used to seeing the late 80s, early 90s for pass completion, but to do 47 passes in a game and pull off every single one, I mean, what sort of level must you be playing at to do that, Trevor? I mean, this is just phenomenal, isn't it?
Brilliant.
That's the movement.
And a little outside of the left foot pass to finish it off. You know what? He's got everything. And to think we're thinking about letting him go in the summer, it's blasphemy.
Yeah.
For me, he was outstanding. I think it's almost an unfair advantage. I think he's one of them rare players who's got a ridiculous engine where I think he did 14, 15k against Liverpool a few seasons ago. So his engine's like second to none. And the way that he's balanced and his agility, he's so small, you can't really pin him down. And his end product now, you know, he's almost running the game from wherever he plays. And also, as you just mentioned there, he's dictating to his teammates, he's raising their games, and that is a sign of a great player.
When you talk about the end product, the deep ball that came in, I'm thinking against PSG, go for glory. Volley it, get right at the goalkeeper. You got an opportunity, just literally dinks it back across.
So unselfish.
Awareness, unselfish. That told you how class his game was.
I also wondered, you know, when you have someone like that playing at the level that they are, and you can also maybe feel as well that that's almost kind of he's finessing it every single game. I think I said it a couple of weeks ago, but Pep said if he carries on in this vein, you could be talking about one of the world's best centre midfielders of the game in its entirety. Would you agree with that? If it's consistent.
Undroppable at the moment. I mean, when have you heard Pep Guardiola say that?
No,
undroppable.
Never.
You haven't on any of his players, has he? So that just tells you. And I think we've got to understand is why he possibly could have wanted to go. He wanted to play football. We discussed it the other night in commentary, etc. He wants to play. He wants to show him what he can do. But if he's just had that little lull, then you come out of the team.
Yes.
You can't just demand to play in this side with Pep Guardiola. I mean, that's the thing, isn't it?
And I think we mentioned how unselfish he is as a player. He's not bothered about the glory. His whole round game will get him the glory because everyone appreciates what he brings to this Manchester City team. But I think when you look at him as a player, and he was Ballon d'Or, he won a lot of things a few years ago, and he was unlucky not to be really recognised in that area. But for me, what he brings to this Manchester City team is he looks such a popular lad. Like, it doesn't matter where you're from in the team or what position you play in, he looks like he's got a fantastic relationship with every single player. And players like that, they're worth the weight in goals because they are so important, especially when things get hard.
Massive fan favourite as well. There's some great clips. I mean, the infamous coffee cup when we had the
He just looks like a great lad, doesn't he?
I think coming out at Old Trafford, he actually stuck his tongue out at the United fans. He's coming off the coach. He's genius.
He's got a nasty side to him. Not a nasty side, but he's got such a competitive. The lad went down, the PSG player went down after the run, and he wasn't injured. It wasn't a head injury.
Twice.
And he's kicking us saying, let's play on. What you doing, referee? We can't stop the game.
Yeah. That was a
that just shows what
bit of guile.
He wants to win. You know, he's got that competitive edge, and I think he's a special player, very special player.
Just a final word, just because we've seen Laporte coming in, obviously, for John Stones. As we know, Stones, of course, will be gutted not to make it. But do you think this is just part of the keeping these three rotating, playing together, or do you think there's another reason, maybe a threat from West Ham, possibly, Pep's seen?
Well, aerially. Do you see that as a one? Because they're going to have set pieces. Yes, John Stones can handle it, but the left side always helps, doesn't it? You probably would have seen he would have played all of the games coming out with that natural left foot. The diagonal switch is what he can bring, that left to right, if you want to play the big diagonal across the pitch. So the balance is a little bit better. It's fabulous, isn't it? That we've got three excellent centre halves. Nathan Ake backing that up as well when needed. Yes, he's probably not at the level of those three, but still a great one to come in.
Bernardino can do a job there as well. I would agree with your latter points with the balance, but certainly not aerially. We were both at Old Trafford to watch the mauling of Manchester United, and I have to say, talking about like the detail of a centre half, and this comes down to real detail. He picked his moments when he could aerially duel with Ronaldo that day. Sometimes you think that's too good a ball. I'll let him have it and defend the second phase. I'll concede that situation, but I'll stay goal side. He's not going to do anything. Yeah. And at times when he could engage and get involved and be physical with him, he did that. I thought his decision making as a central defender was superb that day. I think he might be brought in. I think Laporte might be just a little bit quicker than him. And with Antonio potentially playing up front for West Ham, I think that might be one of the reasons why he's in there.
Fantastic. Thank you, gents. But also, we, of course, are doing fantasy football. All of us here at Manchester City. I say all of us, but some of us. I've also forgot to do my team for the last 2 weeks, which is never good. But we are pinpointing some players that we think, obviously, are going to put some points on the board. For Manchester City, of course, it's hard not to look past João Cancelo. And I promise you when I say I wanted to put him in 3 weeks ago, and I still haven't. But, of course, you're looking at our clean sheets. You're looking at some of the assists as well that he's getting. He's also had 12 bonus points in his last 12 appearances. He's just gone up above the price of Ruben Diaz as well.
That's the one, isn't it? There.
Oh, disgusting.
The thing is as well, I don't know if that finish as well.
Come on,
great how many of those passes did you in your career, Trevor? Just a couple.
The thing was as well, and Bernardo Silva's on it, but did you see the one in the PSG game as well, where Jesus, I think if he'd hit it first time, it was another one. It was like 2.0 of that.
Once you get that confidence and you start to do things and you're able to try it, and it gets better and better. So the manager then goes, well, okay, fair enough, you can try it. The players are on the end of it. They know that it's going to come. You make those runs, and he's playing really, really well. But this is another player, isn't it? Jared Bowen's done very, very well at times, and an impressive West Ham side. So he's been a good buy. It took him a little bit of time to settle in, but he's a threat.
He is a threat, and we'll be finding out in just a little bit whether Jared Bowen, of course, will make it to the starting 11. Now, you mentioned it before. Sean Goater is who you're going to find on the Matchday app today, commentary with Alistair Mann. So that's how you can get the Manchester City commentary, which, by the way, I'm not just biased, but with Alistair Mann and whoever the guest is, it really is great. And you can get that on the app, so just download it, listen through there. How many times do you think he might say one of his favourite players is playing?
But he's going to really go for it. He's going to absolutely run this today.
He is, isn't he?
Sure. Wow. Someone's telling him. He might have missed our chat because he's had to walk to pitch side, but somebody's going to tell him.
Let's have a look now where we can get Sean Goater's thoughts ahead of our game against West Ham. Here he is speaking pitch side.
Hello everyone, we've got Sean Goater here today, and the team lineup has just been announced. So, first of all, Sean, what are your initial thoughts on today's lineup?
Well, yes, a strong lineup once again. I mean, this is what we get with City. Looking forward to following up in our last performance and how we did. With City, rather, I mean, these players are used to this. So, for us fans, the Saturday side would be a little chilly, but these players will come out here, they'll set the tempo, they'll be right on it. So, excited with the squad.
Perfect. And would you have liked to have played in this City squad?
Well, of course. I mean, who wouldn't want to play in this current team? I have this running joke with the boys in the studio as well. I've got so many favourite players. I mean, Cancelo, the way he plays as a fullback, certainly on the left side, and he ends up in this sort of number 10 position. His ability to find passes and also have just beautiful shots. He's sort of evolved the fullback position. Him, Bernardo Silva, to think that what some people were saying about Bernardo Silva, I mean, the energy he brings. Phil Foden, I mean, you can stop me when you want because I'll go on. I've got a few favourite players. I mean, again, it's important that we just kick on again with this one. It'll be a tough one today, but it's important that we kick on again.
And speaking of it being tough, it's we've got quite a lot of fixtures coming up, as we always do in December. What was it like for you as a player when you used to, you look ahead and you've got all these fixtures coming up?
Well, I don't want to sound like Pep, but that's the reality. It's only about the next game, and this is the most important game. You do, as a player, when you've played a game, you've won, you do look at the fixtures and think, who have you got in the next 2 or 3 games? Because you know that, okay, there's potential that you can get 6, 9 points, my time, 6 points. This current team, you look at the next 3 games, they're thinking 9 points. But it's about today. They're not thinking about the next games. They want to deal with today, get a win, and then players, what we tend to do is have a look at the fixture and think, okay, who have we got in the next couple of games? There's some tough games coming up, but we're still able to get 9 points, etc. So we're no different. These boys will have a look at the fixture, but they'll know it's about today, doing the work today, getting the 3 points.
Lovely. And, we've got a relatively thin squad at the moment. We've got a couple of our EDS team on the bench. Where do you think Pep will be looking to strengthen today?
Well, in terms of the thing is, it's such quality. I mean, I'm spending a bit of time now over at City FA, and the quality of youngsters coming through. So when we look at these youngsters, McAtee being on the bench, Cole Palmer, and these players, when they're all involved, these players are good enough. I'm now starting to see what is being developed over there, and first of all, they're recruiting quality players, but the knowledge and the information that these players are being given, but also they're able to execute. So when I look at McAtee, for instance, we've only seen a little glimpse of him. Cole Palmer, we're seeing little bits of him. We've all seen what Phil Foden could do. It's like we're stacking up these young players and saying we've got more on the conveyor belt coming through. So these youngsters, when they get the opportunity, I'm sure they'll take it because, again, they're equipped with the tools, but they also have the knowledge and understanding.
Perfect. I agree as well. It's great to see. Well, that's it for now. Back to you in the studio, and we'll go and warm up for the game.
That's Sean Goat there speaking ahead of our game against West Ham. Just a few of his favourite players. I mean, all of them, basically. But do you know what? To be fair to him, he's got his academy coach coat on there, hasn't he, as well? I believe he was setting up the pitches at 8 o'clock this morning.
Done very, very well. But he's letting everybody know that he's in the academy now, by the way. He's got
why wouldn't you?
He's got the coach.
Fair play.
Just a final word on the team, and thanks for Sean for his thoughts. Remember, he's doing the commentary on the app. It was mentioned after the PSG game, and of course, you're looking at the PSG bench. I mean, ours is usually a joke. Theirs took it to a whole new level. But of course, few injuries. Jack Grealish, Kevin De Bruyne, Phil Foden, Ferran Torres. Suddenly, the conversation was, is our squad just a little bit thin when we do maybe have 4 or 5 injuries? Now, would you agree with that, or would you disagree with that, Brownie?
I think you've got to agree with that.
Yeah.
You look at the amount of games, playing twice a week certainly doesn't help the loading. The squad and the players that are missing are a huge miss to the football club. But it's a great opportunity, isn't it? McAtee, Cole Palmer, and then the rest really is what you'd have expected to be in the squad. So good opportunity. Cole Palmer, for instance, is getting better and better. He's one we want to see. So really it's given his pathway a little bit more experience, isn't it? Quicker than what it would have been if everybody would have been fit.
Yes.
But would Pep will want a little bit of a stronger squad, I'm sure, if he can get that. But he likes to work with a tight lot of numbers. But the issue we've got is now with the game, the Champions League, Leipzig, could that be a little bit of a one way you could play some different personnel?
Yeah, possibly. I mean, Cole Palmer, we seen him last time I was doing City TV. We seen him. He got on for maybe 3 or 4 minutes at the end of the game, and then he went across to the academy and scored a hat trick. And for me, listen, we all know he's a good player, so he wouldn't be involved in the first team. But what he's done is he's gone and shown he's got the right mentality as well, because he's not spitting his dummy out thinking, I've got to play again now. He's gone over there and said, this is why I'm playing in the first team. This is why I'm in the first team squad. So what's going on at the football club? It's not just the quality of player they've got. They've got quality of men.
Yes.
Definitely. We've got 3 forward players out, as you can see. So you can see we're a little bit light. So I think we could probably strengthen that area. But it's very rare you have 3 players of that kind of quality out of the squad. So if you put them in that squad on the bench there, all of a sudden saying, yeah, we're fully loaded.
Where would maybe be that one area, do you think, possibly? If you were to, maybe not January...
Don't say number 9. Cause
no, I'm not. No, we steer away from the general chap. I'm thinking, would it maybe be another player who could play across a forward 3? Would it be someone who could maybe join alongside in the midfield?
I'll tell you what it will be. It'll be an adaptable footballer, because that's all Pep Guardiola deals with. He doesn't deal with players that can play in one position. He deals with players that he looks at, and he looks at their profile and their quality and what they've got technically, and he'll say, right, I can play in there.
It's so difficult to be critical, isn't it? Actually go and strengthen that. Obviously, at the top of the pitch, yes. I still think in the left-back area.
Yeah.
The left-back area, naturally balanced left-footed player.
Yeah.
Yes, obviously, Zinchenko has done exceptional when he's gone in. Done very, very well coming in. But I think at the top games, when we're talking about Champions League finals, later stages in those games, that would be something different, because if Cancelo, he was playing excellent, as we've just discussed, that creativity. But going the other way,
Yeah.
Do you know, when you're really going to be tested against the top teams, that might be one thing, that natural balance that you can step out.
And I think on the flip side of that, if you're one of the top teams that are playing against Manchester City in them latter stages of the Champions League, or some of the real top teams, and no disrespect to West Ham, but if you're playing against the two teams that are in and around us, they're going to look at our left-back position, think that's an area where we can exploit. And you look at them teams, you know, Reece James, phenomenal player down that right-hand side for Chelsea. You look at Liverpool, Mo Salah. You know, that is an area where they'll look and think we can get out, maybe we can hurt Manchester City there. So yeah, I would agree with Michael there.
Oh, that's brilliant. Did you just see Stuart Pearce there?
doing
his warm-up.
Is that how you used to warm
knees up? And there was another character as well, Kevin Nolan.
Yeah.
So them two, proper experience, great football people, and they'll demand everything from their team.
Yeah, we're going to come to West Ham and just say, of course, Stuart Pearce does know, you know, I think he's infamous here at Manchester City, of course, coached us for a little bit. What is he like as a man? What do you think he's like as a coach?
Well, I've played against him when he was at Nottingham Forest, when I was at QPR. Very tough tackling fullback, obviously got a lot of personality. I remember him leaving me in the sponsors boards and looking over me up Loftus Road once. As a teammate at West Ham, he was a great teammate, had his own way of preparing for games, but always ready, always focused, and he was a big personality in the changing room. And then as a coach and manager, he managed me at Manchester City. So yeah, and I'm a friend of his, so I think he's gone in there. He's a colleague of mine, obviously with my media work. He's gone in at West Ham. He's with David Moyes. I think David Moyes has got a great group of coaches around him, so that he's not having to micromanage every situation. He's got good people who are experienced, whether in coaching or playing. They've got an affinity to West Ham, and he's got them people around him. And I feel that's why we're seeing the best version of these West Ham players, because they're getting every help and support that they need.
Fantastic. Well, we're going to hear more about that West Ham team in just a little bit. But before that, I want to bring you in, of course, because today at the stadium we've got two of our women's players joining us for a match day experience, Esme Morgan and Janine Becky. They have been wandering around the Etihad. They've been getting involved. By the way, the City lads have just come out on the pitch to start warming up, and warm up they will need to do because it is snowing here in Manchester. But anyway, we've had Esme Morgan and Janine Becky going around the stadium enjoying a match day experience. We're going to hear from them in just a little bit, but here's how they've got on so far.
I'm so unlucky. It's snowing. We have snow.
It's officially winter time.
Oh man, Christmas tree as well there. Cute.
Look. What's up, everyone? It's Janine and Esme from Man City Women. Normally, you watch us play over there, but today we are headed to the Etihad to watch the men take on West Ham.
We're very excited, a little cold, but we're looking forward to the game and cheering the guys on.
Let's go! Woo! Okay. Hey, that's snowing right here! Before we fixed the one day that it was snowing. Lovely.
At least it's not like...
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Mr. Diaz, making his front cover debut. That's it. There's
Hey!
that was so aggressive. Ellen White.
100 caps for England yesterday.
And a goal.
Legend. And a goal too.
Per usual
And a goal
for Mrs. Ellen White.
Nice. He's got a chin pad on.
Okay, now. Looks like I'm running. I cannot have the ball. Oh my god!
So we got to our seats and then like 20 minutes later and he's won.
Look who it is!
You gotta recreate that.
The one and only. Esme Morgan. You look great. You look great.
Look, here's your Christmas present. She loves this game.
I think that's the right size. You look great. You look very festive.
See this game? Can we get a picture?
Yeah, of course.
Thank you. Sorry to interrupt. You look kind of busy. I don't want to bother you.
Don't worry.
Okay, that's cool. Thank you. Oh, yeah.
Love your scarf.
Thank you. Thank you so much. That's great.
You guys
Jill then Kate?
KB looks the same, just slightly younger.
Calm. Well, we're heading into the stadium now to get out of the snow and enjoy the game.
Going for a City win. We are all about clean sheets here, so I'm going to 3-0 to the big guys.
I was actually going to say great mind. Pick a line. Let's go.
To be honest with you, they're on the stage with us, telling us all about it, telling us about Declan, and also there's a couple of City connections that have been involved as well.
Wow. I mean, they say to enjoy the game. I'm sure they're also off to enjoy some nice hot food and some hot beverages inside the hospitality. That's Esme Morgan and Janine Becky. We're going to hear from them a little bit later on in the show to get their thoughts. And, of course, as well, wishing Esme Morgan the speediest recovery. She got that kind of really bad injury a couple months ago, but I know she's on the road to recovery, so all the well wishes from us at Matchday Live. Before we look at West Ham, we can now hear from Pep Guardiola.
Well, Pep, it looks like a winter wonderland in Manchester today. Are your players going to dazzle us with their football again today?
Welcome to Manchester. Finally, we missed the snow a lot. That's why the Premier League is the most difficult competition, because you have to live sometimes with sunny days and sometimes with days like today. And every team. So, we'll see what happens.
West Ham, you met them not so long ago in a different competition. Can we take anything from that game as a similarity, or is it totally different?
We don't need that game to know exactly how good and strong they are. So we felt it last season. I think last season I felt for the first time that they become an incredible strong side. They control it. They can do everything. Defend it perfectly. When they can run, they are so fast. Set pieces, maybe it's the best team. For the takers, for Fornals, for Criswell, and incredible good headers. And they want to pass the ball and make a possession ball. They can do it. So, strong side, but, Premier League is like that.
We see your team today. Still no Phil Foden, no Jack Grealish, not back yet. You made a couple of changes. Gabriel Jesus comes in. Aymeric Laporte comes back in. Is it a situation at the moment where you can't change too much because you haven't got too much to change?
We have 14 players in the first team, so we need the players back. I think Kevin is coming back soon, and Phil hopefully, Jack as well. So we have just 14 players, and we choose the academy, but in the same time we rely on them perfectly. So it doesn't matter what happened today in the next. It's better because we have to handle many games. You need depth squad, but that's why we have the academy. When the first team players, they are not, fit, so we have the academy.
Thanks, Pep.
You're welcome.
Says Pep Guardiola speaking ahead of our game against West Ham, which kicks off in just over 30 minutes' time right here at the Etihad Stadium. And, of course, mentioned there that the squad is just a little bit thin at the moment. Just 14 first-team players available at the moment, but we go on. And West Ham are today's opponent. And I can bring you the team news now. West Ham starting 11 looks like this. Fabianski starts in goal. Then you've got Johnson, Dawson, Zuma, Cresswell and Masuaku. We're thinking possibly a back five, but we'll hear more from the gents on that in just a second. Declan Rice captains the side as well. What a season he's having. Souček as well, of course. And then Fornals, Benrahma and Antonio. Over on the bench, you've got Areola, Kufal, Diop, Noble, Kral, Lanzini, Yarmolenko, Bowen and Vlasic. Before we get into the team, Nader Manua said in the show in the middle of the week that this is the best West Ham team that we've seen in the Premier League. Would you agree with that, Michael? And what has David Moyes to get them into this position, do you think?
Well, I think we've seen some good West Ham sides, haven't we, with flair and different sort of mentality and different options to what this West Ham side have. I think he looked at formations, he looked at the group, he struggled with defensively, he went to that back three for quite a period of time, but the two in the shot, Mikel Antonio, Declan Rice, they've been incredible for the team so far this season, and I feel like they've got the confidence, they've got a work ethic, they back each other up. You mentioned it before, didn't you? Playing with people who know they've got your back straight away, that's so important, and I just feel like they're really enjoying the football. Very, very organised, can go to that back three, back four. They've got that little bit of flair, Benrahma, Fornals, Declan Rice really is the holding of the heartbeat for everywhere. Mikel Antonio at the top of the pitch. So they've got determination, they've got set pieces, and they've got a great style of playing.
How do you think they're going to approach the game today? How do you think David Moyes is going to try and have them playing, do you think?
Well,
Trev?
in the past I've been not critical, but I've questioned the way David Moyes has gone into games against top teams. I remember covering a game at the London Stadium where they played against Liverpool, and they were so tentative and passive, out of possession, and I feel they need to be a lot more committed. I think we're going to see that. You know, they've obviously had that confidence boost in the EFL Cup. They're going well themselves in the league. They've got good players. And what I look at, when I see that squad and I look at like the likes of Ben Johnson, who's improved massively, Cresswell, obviously Zuma's come in, Rice, Fornals. There's so many, like obviously Antonio, you know, being brought in as a number 9 now, he's really captivated me with his performances now, how much he's learning very quickly on the international scene as well. But what you're seeing is a lot of good players that are now starting to look like great players.
Yes.
And that has got to go down to the coaching, the environment, the culture at the football club. And yeah, I would agree. I think it's probably
do you think
the best
possession's
squad.
got better?
100%.
You know, that's one thing, their build-up.
But you can't keep possession, Michael, if you're not fit enough. So you might have these technical players, which they have. You know, Ben Rama, you've got Fornals, who, for me, Fornals, when he came, he was a bit of a boy. He didn't have the athleticism to deal with the Premier League. So although he had some nice touches, he couldn't affect the game.
Yes.
Now, they're obviously working at strength and conditioning, they're working at the fitness, they're working at all aspects of the players' games. All the players are improving, so that to me tells me, one, there's an appetite from the players to want to be better, and two, that they've got a great coaching staff around them.
Do you see them coming out, Trev? Do you see them coming out of this team and this setup? Do you think they'll come out and play against City and put them on the back foot, or do you
100%.
feel like they'll just have a look first and say, let's see what you've got, let's build and be patient, get behind the ball, or will they try and get that build-up going?
I think they'll try. Listen, you don't want to give anything cheap away, especially early on in the game, so they won't take too many risks, they won't be cavalier, but what they will do is, you know, when you've got players like Rice, and you've got players like Souček who's a box-to-box player, when they feel it's the right time, and there's no rhyme or reason, you've got to read the pattern of the game. If they feel it's right to get on the front foot, keep the ball, get your little triangles going, they're as good as anyone in the Premier League when they get their passing going. So I think they're going to go toe-to-toe. They're going to be obviously having a lot of respect for the defending champions on their own patch in Manchester City, but they have got a lot of quality technical players, and they've also now got the physicality to go along with that.
I think it's 6 goals inside of the box for Antonio in the Premier League this year, and of course the League Cup game, which obviously was a draw. We got knocked out on penalties. Antonio wasn't playing, so do you think as well it's probably not fair to think about that game because they weren't at full strength? I know City weren't either, but we didn't see Antonio, and he's been so key to the way West Ham have played.
He has been so key, and I think that would have been one of the problems. Remember Mikel Antonio against Aymeric Laporte. How do you play against him? Coming into the Premier League, do you sit off? Do you go over the headers? Like you mentioned that before. I feel like he tried to wrestle with him and get tight, and he struggled with it. This is the perfect example there where he got gripped. Was it Diaz, actually?
Diaz there, yeah.
So Diaz on that occasion, he got gripped, he tried to get hold of him. You cannot do that with him. You've got to be cute. You've got to just step off him and then go nick the ball where you can. If he gets hold of you, you're in trouble.
And just going off the back of what you just said there, Michael, a lot of people feel, oh yeah, that's a great overhead kick. There's so much more, you know. There's something that we talk about in the coaching, from the coaching technical areas, fighting for space. You want the ball to go there, so you'll either do reverse movement if you've not got that physical presence, or what you'll do is you'll get a grip of your opponent, so that you can stop him attacking and competing in that space. Once the ball goes in that space, you know it's yours because you can see his core strength there, and the power of his upper body, which obviously is linked to his loader. But you can see, as soon as he got in that scenario, he was thinking, all he has to do now is concentrate on his technique, because he had everything else locked down.
I can see it. I mean, did you reckon this is a conversation possibly about the conditions? Because we know as well around the Premier League today as well, the Burnley-Tottenham game has been called off for extreme weather conditions. I mean, they are still warming out here, so do we think it'd probably go on, Michael, do you think? I mean, I know Moyes is in deep conversation there.
He seems quite happy, content. I think the officials as well are actually showing to everybody. They're looking into it. They're considering the whole environment, what's going to be there, the safety of the players. And I'm looking at it now, and it looks playable to me at this moment in time. What's the forecast bringing? We don't know. Burnley just up the road has gone. That does struggle in that sort of area.
That's in a mountainous region, though.
It is one of those regions. And my lad's just literally been called off against Middlesbrough for Burnley, so I know what it's like. They're driving back out of that snow. So we just just hope it doesn't knock it. But obviously they're looking at the situation.
I'm not concerned here because we've got underfloor heating.
Yeah.
I think the guys are going to be moving the snow off the pitch whenever they get opportunities before the game at half time. But what my
I think Sean Goat is down there. He could get the brush out. He's got another half an hour yet.
My concern's outside, just the access in and out. If that's not safe for the fans, I think that will be my biggest concern.
Final word though on David Moyes, and because it was a great little bit here. So this is his 32nd league encounter with Manchester City. Out of those, he only lost 6 of his first 22 fixtures. He's drawn 1 of them, and then of course he's lost 8 in the last 9 since kind of coming back. Because that was the thing when Everton were our bogey team. He obviously was at West Ham, went away, Pellegrini came in, then comes back. Is that quite a weird thing, do you think, for a coach to kind of be at a club, go away, and then be asked to come back? Or can you understand that? I'm kind of curious, really.
I didn't think he deserved to get let go because he kept him up for the end of that season, to the end of that season, and then he was released. And Pellegrini came. I thought he was the right fit for the club. I think some of the fans hadn't bought into him, so I think that might have come into the thinking for David Gold and David Sullivan. But for me, I thought he did well enough in that first spell. I think he was the one who started playing Antonio up front as well and getting him off the wing back area where he's away. You look at the size of him. Yeah. He's not a wing man. Yeah. He can't play on the wing. Put him down the centre because for me it's obvious that's where he could play. He could score goals. But I think since he's come back, he's been a revelation, and he has really. I think he's gathered so much support from the fans in the way that he's conducted himself, the way that the team's performed.
Do you think it helped not having fans though, Trev? That he was allowed to just get on with his business when there was no supporters there. And the one game the supporters were there, they lost, didn't they? Yeah. At home. So I think it's let him develop.
I can't agree with that, Mike.
It's let him develop. It's let him develop. Though, but it has let him develop. It's let them just get on with the job, and now they realise what a good job he's done. They're all behind him, and thankfully the West Ham supporters can see some light, they can see some positivity. We understand why they got frustrated, but David Moyes has done a wonderful job. And
the form in Europe as well. I mean, there might be that thing of they played on Thursday, so is it going to be a bit tricky for them today? But I mean, topping the group in Europe as well, I guess, is no small feat, while also competing in the Premier League.
Yeah,
Michael.
Fabulous, and to manage with the squad. And I think that's the difference going into these European competitions. A couple of changes, some players have come in, you see the experience they've got. Mark Noble stepping in those games, still going strong in behind Declan Rice and Souček. So, listen, I think the club on the up. They're going very, very well, but again, yes, I think Thursday night, the loading, hopefully Manchester City can go very, very quickly at them and put them on the back foot.
Fantastic. Right, gentlemen, I've been so excited to bring you this. One name that I'm sure is infamous among you fans at home, and of course will bring you a big smile, is Mr. Paulo Wanchop. And this week we managed to get hold of him. He's back in Costa Rica, and we can hear what he's been up to. And of course, he's a man that's played for both of these teams today. So here he is speaking, of course, about the game, and of course some of his ex-teammates as well.
So our 2 guests in the Matchday Live studio for the West Ham game are Sean Goater and Trevor Sinclair. We asked them about you, and they've said this. So Sean Goater sent us a message and just said, he's another player I had a great relationship with and I understood very well. Paulo had the ability to be a maverick on the field by ignoring the obvious pass to someone else, but then a piece of individual skill or dribble past the opposition by surprise. He said for everyone else, Paulo was unpredictable, but for me, he was predictable, and that's why I loved to play with him. He feels he understood your game and your qualities. Is that your memory of playing with Sean? Did you feel like you and Sean had a really good understanding on the pitch?
Always it's easier to play, alongside good players, and Sean, he was a very good player. It's only a matter of being on the pitch and understand each other. It's easier, to train and to play with good players, and he was one of them. That's why it's not about talking. It's just to feel in the pitch, just to see each other, and we can understand each other on the pitch.
Trevor Sinclair says that you were a very happy guy with a big, strong personality, very charming. He said, "Well, you were incredibly strong physically." Was that a part of your game? Do you feel? Because people remember your skill and your technical side, but Trevor's saying that actually you were an incredibly powerful player.
Well, it's something that and I knew from when I had the chance to go on trial to England. I knew it was going to be a very physical. So also I used to play basketball as well. So I knew how to use my body, my arms, and everything. But of course, when I got into England, I had to work out a lot. Physically, I need to work, too much to be able to compete. But as I said before, I used to play basketball, so the combination of playing basketball and using my body, that was my strength to be able to survive in a very competitive league.
One of our favourite memories of you at City was obviously your debut when you scored a hat-trick. Did you keep the ball at the end of the game? Because the footage we've got on video of you, the referee has the ball at full time. Did you get the ball off him and keep the football at the end of that game?
At that time, I didn't know. I didn't know that players who score 3 goals, they will, keep the ball. Yes, at the end, I went on the tunnel and I kept my, the ball. So here in my house and yes, that was a big surprise for me. But I was really happy to be able to live that experience in Main Road with good players, with George Weah and all those players, and Golter and good players over there, and of course that was a great start for me at home.
And would you say the most important goal you scored was the goal against Newcastle that made sure that City stayed in the Premier League? What's your memory of that goal? Because that was hugely
tense. It was very tense, that game. I think it was in the second half, like 70, 75 minutes, I don't know. And it was a good cross from Anelka, and I just tried to had a good contact with my head, and after that, when the ball went into the goal, that was the atmosphere was great. So that was a great memory from me, and I always try to speak to my son, who is playing football now, and he likes to see the footage and see the highlights of that game.
Oh, that's absolutely brilliant. That's Paulo Wonch up there speaking from Costa Rica, and so great to see him. I mean, he hasn't changed, has he? No, he just looks the exact same.
Good skin product.
Yeah. Also, I'm sure that Costa Rican sun helps a massive amount as well, doesn't it? But what a man, and also, great player as well. It must have been so great to play with
Great
Trevor.
player. Lucky enough to play with him at West Ham and Manchester City, and huge competitor. Great lad in the changing room. Loads of personality. And it was a joy to play with him. You knew that if you're going to put the ball in an area where the goalkeeper couldn't compete, you knew that he was going to do some damage. And we've seen just on them little clips there that he was great in the air. And absolute pleasure to play with him.
Lovely stuff. Now, I've not had a chance to do it in the show so far. We've been that jam-packed. But remember, WhatsApp as well is a number that we've got for how you can get involved with the show. So you can let us know your thoughts, or you can even put some questions that you might have burning away to our guests in the studio now. Won't have a chance to get them in before the game. But, of course, we're back at half-time, then full-time, and I'll be working through them as well. And, of course, we've been setting up cameras with fans around the world to watch them watching the game. This is a camera we've got set up in China. I mean, that is some setup there in China. Wow. It looks like it's fresh out the Etihad. But we'll, of course, be keeping that going and then looking at hopefully some great reactions to some Manchester City goals as they go in against West Ham. Fingers crossed. And there's that all-important WhatsApp number at the bottom there as well. Now, of course, Cryptic City. We didn't get a chance to do that, did we, in the Champions League? We were that busy, so we're going to get it in this week. Keep producer Darryl happy as well, because I know he works hard on these, doesn't he, Brownie? So let's take a look. Of course, you can use the WhatsApp number or hashtag Man City if you're on Twitter. It's how you can get your guesses in. We're going to have a little look here in the studio. Cameraman Craig's having a ganders as well. Here we go. Okay. I wouldn't know.
I've got it.
You've got it straight away?
Yeah.
Straight in, Trev. Wow. I mean, Rope Hub. Well, I don't know what the get low clue would be. What would be the
return?
row? Okay. What would be a possible clue for the second hint? What do you want? Like, are we looking at the actual man in question, or is it
Yeah, the man in question.
Okay, the man in question with the second clue, of course. Do you know the third clue?
Do you not know it?
No idea.
That is definitely 10 presents for you.
Wow. Okay, well, if you like Trevor Sinclair think you've got it, hashtag Man City on Twitter and send us a WhatsApp number. He's got us this week, hasn't he?
It's got me.
He's got
no idea.
Not got. Look at Trev, how smug Trev is! There we go.
I'm happy because I got it last time as well. I'm usually rubbish at quizzes.
You're doing very well.
Okay.
You're on 100% streak. Well,
I've got to say him and Daryl before we went on air were very, very close for a period of time, going through a lot of the notes.
Okay.
And he was looking over his shoulder, and I'm just wondering what was on that pad. That's all I'm saying.
All questions that to be revealed and answered as we go on. But half time we'll get some guesses in.
Okay.
We'll hear what yours is, and then we'll reveal at full time what's correct. You pretty confident?
Very confident.
Very confident. Okay, well, let us know your guesses at home as well. Now, of course, snow is falling, and we're a couple of days away from December, which does mean we can all get excited about this that we do every season at Manchester City, of course. It is our Citizens' Christmas surprise. So, have you or do you know any Manchester City fans that you want to celebrate, that you want to talk about? Maybe you think we need to shine a light on the work that they do. Well, this is a chance for you guys to celebrate them and let us know at Manchester City that you think they deserve a Christmas surprise from us at Manchester City. It's so simple. All you need to do is get your nominations in before the end of this month, and then throughout December, of course, we're going to be surprising some of those lucky Manchester City fans that we think deserve shouting about and highlighting. It's a really great thing to get involved with, and of course, it's our annual Citizens tradition as well, so please do get involved a couple of days before it all closes. If you've just tuned in, Cel Spelman here with you for Match Day Live. Joining me is Michael Brown and, of course, Trevor Sinclair. Let me quickly run you through Manchester City's starting 11 if you've not had a chance to see it yet. Ederson starts in goal. Of course, hoping for that 100th clean sheet in a Manchester City shirt. Kyle Walker, Ruben Diaz, Aymeric Laporte and Cancelo make up the back four. Rodri is holding alongside Gundogan, who's captaining the side, of course, as well with Bernardo Silva, who, we just can't sing his praises enough at the moment. And a forward three of Riyad Mahrez, Gabriel Jesus and Raheem Sterling. I wanted to do a player focus this week, gents, on a player I think that's kind of, he's in the position that goes under the radar. He's one of those players that I think is kind of settled in, but I do feel this season is a player that we should focus on because we are no longer asking the question, where is Fernandinho, or do we need Fernandinho, because Rodri is playing so well, Michael.
No, he's doing very, very well, and yes, I still look to say where Fernandinho is because I feel like he's learning from him every day in training. The man of Fernandinho is helping him. You know, and that's the thing. He's an honourable guy, and he's getting him through all of these little things to make him better and better. He's making better decisions. Look at that for a strike. It's a wonderful strike in tight areas where I felt he'd gone and chased and harassed. He'd lose the ball on occasions. That little square pass to somebody that he didn't have to make. Now he's getting much, much better under that little sort of that pressure that you get in the middle of the park. He's making better decisions when to actually press, when to stay, when to nick the ball, when to get in a good area, stop obviously the thread into a striker, getting people in around him and organising. So I feel he's getting more of an all-round player. I was a bit unsure, and I was probably calling for Fernandinho and saying this is maybe the game for Fernandinho to get in, but I've seen a big improvement. I don't know what about you. That goal as well, as a centre midfield player, when you get a goal, when you've done all the running, it starts to give you something back and you play even better, I think.
Yeah, I mean, listen, he is a holding midfielder, but as you see, he can get himself up and around the edge of the box. For me, I think it's just a natural development. You know, he's playing with better players. Physically, he's more mobile now because he looked a little bit, I wouldn't say heavy, but he's a big guy. I think he's about 6'2", 6'3", and he looked a little bit like he was struggling to get around, so that when he did get the ball, he couldn't do exactly what he wanted to. But for now, I think he's worked hard at his fitness. I think he's started to get used to the way that Pep likes him to play. And I think he's just naturally developed in every area of his game. And this season, you know, the strikes that he's scoring, the consistency. And I think, you know, his English will be getting better, and his understanding of when to talk and his leadership skills all round. I think he's just improved a little bit on every one of them, and now he's starting to see a real top holding midfielder. That
strike was incredible, wasn't it?
Oh, it's a joke.
For me, I'm just feeling well done to go and get some reward for being an unselfish player around the team. That's what I really like. And
that's almost like a hit to nothing, isn't it? Because you don't want to lose the 50-50 or take a touch and lose it there because they're at you. So you're almost thinking, well, I'll strike this, try and keep it down, hit the target. If it doesn't go in, at least they're not countered. So it's almost a shot to nothing.
And I'm going to say so many good things about him as well, because he scored that goal, and he doesn't score many like that, does he? And after the game, there was a little boy at the top of the Tunnel Club steps waiting and said, "Can I have that shirt?" and straight away took it off and give him it, and it's in my house.
No,
we've got that shirt for the goal against Everton. Yeah, my little boy he gave it to. So again, an all-round, it's about being unselfish.
That was unbelievable.
A brilliant block.
That's a goal, isn't it? It's a goal.
It was so wonderful. It's as good as it gets.
Never give up. I mean, that's great personality.
Just to jump on that point there as well, because I've been doing some reading around Rodri, and honestly, I think now the club go, learn about these players to the nth degree, but there's some brilliant stuff out there about him. I mean, when he was playing for Atletico Madrid in the first team, he was still studying and he was staying on university campus. He stayed in the halls while playing for Atletico Madrid.
Wow.
He drives a small car. I don't think he's got any tattoos because he says it's easier for him to donate blood. And he carried on getting his business master's degree while in Manchester while doing this. So I just think it says a lot about the person as well, really.
That's amazing. And we're certainly learning how to be a better footballer.
Yeah.
And I think that's the point. He obviously keeps saying, tell me, help me, what can I take from it? And that's wonderful, isn't it? And you feel like somebody with that education will want to carry that right through his career. He won't just settle and say, well, this is it, keep telling me more, keep showing me how can I get better.
I think as well, I mean, the other thing as well for me that I've noticed is his mental map of the pitch, Trevor. Now, remembering even with Sergio Busquets, I'm not making the comparison yet, but you know, those players, Gareth Barry had it as well, and Yaya Toure, where they knew what was going on around them, and sometimes I don't know how you know he's there. And I feel that's come into his game this season more.
I think it is, but I think you have to give Pep a lot of credit for that, because how strict he is with the shape. And it might not be the same player, but a player has to be in that position of the pitch when he gets the ball in that scenario. And I think that gives you that unconscious or unbiased or just that second knowledge to know that there's someone there. I don't even have to look. I know that I've got a player there. And because they're going to try and get in and be a bit of a deep block, it's going to be a free pass.
Trevor, I think his teammates definitely demand it as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
So you look at De Bruyne, Ilkay Gundogan, Kyle Walker, they would be a few, and Fernandinho, yes, helping him after, but during the game and in around it, they're demanding this for him. Yeah. And I think it's somebody who takes it all in.
Really is fantastic stuff there. Rodri is just going from strength to strength. That all familiar music has started, which means the teams won't be too far off the tunnel. We're going to be handing over to Alistair Mann and Sean Goater, who've got your commentary on the app. Just get that on there. We, of course, have predictions from our women's players, Esme Morgan and Janine Becky. We're thinking of 3-0. Time to get it from the guests in the studio. Michael?
I'm looking forward to Trevor's, actually, because it's going to say 2-2 draw. Are you ready for it?
I'm 100%. This is not emotional. This is just who I feel will win. I think City are going to be too strong at home. I think the momentum's with City, because I think they're the performances are improving for me. As the season's gone on, they've got better and better. And I'm going to go for a 2-0 win to Manchester City, and hopefully we can get Ederson with his 100th clean sheet.
Love that. We love that. What are you thinking, Michael?
See, the clean sheet. Why have you just done that to me there? Because I was thinking
I came to you first as well.
I think you said the clean sheet bit, haven't you? I was thinking 3-1 for City. Okay. I just feel West Ham will go for it over the course of the game, but I think City will have too much.
City win. Fantastic, gents. Thank you so much. Well, listen, we're going to be back at half-time, then we'll be back at full-time. But right now I'm going to hand over to Alistair Mann and Sean Goater, who've got your commentary, as I say, on the Manchester City app. But before we do go, of course, we've got our Rainbow Laces campaign here in Manchester City, and we've got a little VT celebrating that, and we're going off, of course, with the infamous Stuart Pearce warming up there, which I think will go down. That'll be a meme, won't it, in the next hour? And Sean's already talking about his favourite players. Yeah, he's having a laugh there, is he, Sean? But let's finish, of course, in this all-important Rainbow Laces campaign, where, of course, we're saying football is for everyone and anyone, no matter what you are or what you believe in.
Let's support one another as one team.
We are stronger when we stick together.
I'm proud to be an ally. We are all on the same team.
Lace up, speak up.
Lace up, speak up. Lace up, speak up. Lace up, speak up.